Hello everyone, and welcome back to another monthly month. It's the monthly video we do where we discuss Nintendo gaming news and just other random nonsense. Now, as you know, we only cover the most hard-hitting stories in the monthly month, so let's open with a story about Sonic having very long legs and things that did occur. It all began as a humble tweet on the official Sonic Twitter saying that for every 5,000 likes, Sonic's legs will grow. How tall can he get? Obviously it got 5,000 likes, and then it happened again, and again, and again. And what started as a simple long-legged noodle Sonic quickly escalated into Sonic's torso completely leaving the planet's orbit before crashing into and destroying the moon. It's nice to know that sometimes the internet isn't all spicy politics, and the official Sonic Twitter is surprisingly hilarious. Will we get a long-legged Sonic in Sonic Frontiers? Well, only time will tell. Did you grow up in a time when video game manuals were still a thing? Because I did, and I always loved video game manuals. As a kid, I'd tear through their pages on the way home after buying a new game, dreaming of the adventures that lay ahead. For good reason, manuals are more a thing of the past, but I was excited to discover that a project led by a lovely human who goes by @PeebsSNES on Twitter, with the help of the community, has managed to scan and compile every single English language Super Nintendo manual in one convenient place. Which means there's around 860 plus scans of manuals that you can look through to your heart's content. What a colossal achievement. I mean, do you own the US SNES manual for biker mice from Mars but wish that you could compare it line for line with the European version? Well, now you can, you big nerd. I love stories about video game preservation, and I think it's important to keep as much video game history alive as we possibly can. Whilst I love the idea of preserving game history, there are some parts of it that others would rather leave in the past. However, in a recent interview, Bonnie Jean Wilbur, the voice of Zelda in the now panned CDi Zelda games, has stated that they would love to reprise their role in future Zelda games. It's wild to think that Bonnie's performance in the CDi Zelda games was the first time that Zelda ever had voice acting. Bonnie also says in the interview that they never saw the final results of the CDi Zelda games, which their husband also starred in as Guanem and various other roles, but has kept up with the series through fan mail and their niece, who is a fan of Breath of the Wild. All round, it was a pretty wholesome interview, and I don't know about you, but I'd be delighted if Bonnie could even have a small cameo in Breath of the Wild 2. No matter how unlikely that seems. Keeping on the retro game preservation theme, I swear I didn't plan this. Sega has confirmed that the Sega Genesis Mini 2 is coming in October. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who will be really excited about this, but I don't really know how to feel about mini consoles anymore. I love the idea of them, but so many of the included titles are already available on Virtual Consoles and Steam and much cheaper packages. In saying that though, this Genesis Mini 2 does seem to be packed full of great titles. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on mini consoles. Are they a good alternative to virtual consoles or just more of a collectible? July also blessed us with the reveal of Kirby's Dream Buffet, an upcoming lighthearted Kirby spin-off with a Fall Guys feel to it. It's a multiplayer race to the finish where Kirby rolls around in a tight little bowl and there's lots of cake. I mean, what more can you ask for? Kirby really is having its time in the sun at the moment, and I'm all here for it. I mean, we've had Kirby in the Forgotten Land, and this month we even got Kirby's Avalanche releasing on the SNES Online, and phew, keep it coming. I love this pink little puff. Ooh, and continuing on from a story that we previously covered, Nintendo is currently fully acquiring Dynamo Pictures, a visual production studio that has previously worked on the Pikmin short movies. The company will be rebranded as Nintendo Pictures, which explains the copyright notices, and I'm gonna use this as evidence that I was right. We're gonna get a Metroid movie. I'm saying it, it's gonna happen. Please give us a Metroid movie. In all seriousness though, I'm very excited that Nintendo movies and TV shows could soon be mainstays in cinemas and our nifty little screen devices. Another nifty thing, it's a good segue, is that Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak has been making waves, and Capcom paid $65K dollary dues for a giant replica of the, I'm gonna butcher this, Kakaru Kumunaki longsword? Yeah, basically Capcom paid some Japanese swordsmiths to create this 3.1 meter, 150 kilogram behemoth, and my god, it's beautiful. They even created a giant sheath for it and everything. I mean, you gotta love a big sword. And speaking of giant anime swords, the last piece of news isn't really news, it's more of a personal statement. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is out, and I'm very excited, and I'm gonna promise right here and now, in front of the whole internet, that I will finish it. I won't get 30 hours in and stop like I usually do with RPGs. I will finish it. Maybe. Speaking of Xenoblade 3 though, it's been wild trying to dodge spoilers for this game, With leaks happening all over the place, people already made ROM dumps and were playing it on PC and Steam Deck days before the game released. I don't know, I feel like it's fun to speculate, but straight up leaking and pirating unreleased games is kind of a buzzkill for me. Well, I'm all newsed out for now, which means it's time for manual magic. So I was scrolling through the SNES Manuals that I mentioned earlier and found some real gems, so here are my favorite discoveries. This tiny screaming child on the cover of Three Ninjas Kickback, the nightmare that is Soccer Kid, this giant man with a mustache morphing out of the woods, this messed up Koopa Trooper, a skeleton being beaten up by a space hopper, the Five Nights at Freddy nightmare that is Putty Squad, the original Conker, Mr. Nuts, the nightmare that is Lawnmower Man, and last but not least, the 1,000-yard stare of Frantic Flea. Well, I'm all newsed out and manualed out, so let's hop into some viewer questions. This month we're lucky enough to have a question from the always wonderful Nevin Winter, who asks, do you own any consoles outside of the Nintendo family? Now this may be hard to believe, but I have indeed dabbled in other consoles. So, I guess it's time for a console tour. First up is my original Xbox, which introduced me to Halo and this pretty average Matrix game, and it currently sounds like it's about to explode every time I start it up. Then there's my PS3 that I bought just to play Skyrim when it first released, and I still use it occasionally to watch my copy of Ponyo and this Godzilla collection. And lastly, there's a PS1 that I found in an op shop a few years ago for like $10. I don't really have any PS1 games, but it did come with Rayman and this Tiger Woods game, which is pretty epic. It's like Wii Sports for sophisticated gamers. And those are all of the non-Nintendo consoles that I own. Thanks for the question, Evan. I genuinely have a lot of fun just going through old consoles. If you have any questions that you want to ask, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll get back to you next month. But for now, I'm going to go and pet my cat, so have a great month and play some fun games.